My name is Katie. My sobriety date is September 26, 2016. I think I really just had fear of getting sober. I think that was I didn't know how to live any other way. You know, drugs and alcohol were my solution. So if you were going to take away that, I had no idea how to live. I took the step to go to a detox and thought that I was going to do a 5-day stay in detox and go back to my life, you know, as it was. And the staff at the detox that I went to said, "You're absolutely not going home. You need to go to treatment." And at that point, I just said, okay. I was expecting just a very dirty, horrible place. And when we actually pulled in here, it was nighttime, so you can't really see, but this campus is absolutely beautiful. I had no idea that treatment was going to be like this. You know, I went to a place where people clean my room and make my bed, and you know, the grounds are landscaped and they cook your meals, and you wouldn't think about those things, but it takes so much off of you so that you're able to focus on why you're actually here. They really start with, you know, looking inside to find the root of why your solution is drugs and alcohol. But then they will teach you things like coping skills, like how to deal with those moments when you feel like you want to use or you want to drink. The staff here is absolutely amazing. They care, which, you know, I think is another misconception, that people in, you know, treatment staff don't care about you, that they're really in this just for the money, and it's not true. They were, you know, warm and welcoming, and if you're walking around looking a little lost or upset, somebody can spot you from a mile away, and they will approach you and ask you, you know, what's going on? Is there a problem? How can I help? I don't want to get emotional. This place and the staff here absolutely 100% saved my life. I owe my life to this place. Coming in here, I had no idea that this was going to be the outcome, and I now live a life better than I thought I ever could have, and it's due to River Oaks and the staff here.
My name's Aleshia, and my sobriety date is October 10th, 2016. I remember my mom, I didn't make her, I begged her to take me to the dope house. I begged her, I said, please, I just need one more. And she drove me there. It was a Saturday night, and she handed me $20, and I got out of the car, and I never would have thought that I would have took my mother to the places that I was hanging out in. And I remember, you know, getting back in the car, and I had the dope on me, and I remember it wasn't me, it was something inside of me. I reached for her phone and I grabbed it, and she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, I'm calling to get some help because I really need it. When I got here, I was under the influence, and the nurse got me, and she was like, "It's gonna be okay," and she fed me, and I started crying because that's what I do. I sat in there and kind of told her everything that was going on, and I was in pretty much like a blackout. I don't really remember anything because I was taking things on the way up here, and I didn't leave my room for 3 days. I was full of guilt and shame and remorse. I was really just full of fear because I didn't know if I was fully capable of even getting sober or staying sober. And I've been in a lot of not so great treatment centers. You know, they just weren't there to help you. They were there to just put you there, and then they were ready to send you out the door. And when I got here was an experience. I learned that I suffered from a lot of trauma, and childhood trauma, and they helped me go through that trauma, and they helped me get to the root causes of why I continue to get sober for about 3 or 4 months, and then go back ripping and running. When I got here, I was not only, I was physically, mentally, and emotionally bankrupt. Like, I had nothing, and they taught me how to live and cope. Treatment was the starting point of my life. I knew that when I left here, I was going to have to do a lot of work. I knew that treatment was not going to cure me, that it was just the starting point to get sober and to put me in a position to cope with life. So when I left here, I've been sober for almost 16 months now, and it's been an amazing journey. For me, alcohol and drugs, as stated, was my solution for many years, and I didn't want to let go of it because I thought that if I let go of it, that actually I felt like I was going to die because I didn't know how to deal with the guilt and the shame and the remorse that I lived with daily. But being here and getting into treatment and finding a place where they truly want to see you get better and change your life, that is absolutely one of the best feelings in the world. And it's hard to make the decision to let go of the drugs and come to treatment because they do seem like the only option, but this option is much better. It's a lot cheaper, and it will absolutely change your life without your permission if you just give it a chance and get on the plane and do it for yourself. Don't do it for anybody else, because recovery is an amazing experience.
My name is Jeremy, and my sobriety date is January 15th, 2016. You know, when I pulled in here and I saw people out there in the smoke pit, and they were out there smoking, and I was like, I'm nothing like any of these people. And that's another big misconception, is we might not have done the same things, but we all felt the same. You know, and we all get to recover the same way. And whenever I got here and I started to really, you know, dig into this facility and what it had to offer, it changed my life. I was completely done. I was tired of living that way. I wanted to die, but I couldn't kill myself. Probably the first 2 days I was in my room most of the time, except to eat or whatnot. And the staff was really cool. They were, they actually cared. They had your entire schedule planned out for weeks. I mean, everything was planned for you. It was very structured. And that's what I needed. I needed all that kind of structure. But I mean, the biggest misconception was that this doesn't work, and that is so not true. And it might be true for the people who are still out there. you know, that's what they think anyways. But if you give it a shot, you know, like I was told, you know, it's 30 days. 30 days for, you know, the rest of your life to completely change. And you know, and if you don't want it, you know, go back out and do what you were doing. But, you know, after 30 days of being here, if it doesn't work, it's something that you're not doing, because this place saved my life. I know a lot of people who have been to different treatment centers, and you know, they talk about how it's disgusting. You sleep on a little cot, and you know, you had a couple meals a day that were cold, and you were just like locked up, and all they were there to do was just feed you meds and you know, get you back ready for another binge, basically. This place, the staff is incredible. They're not here to hurt you, they're here to help you. They're not here to judge, they're here to lend a hand. They were all very wholesome people. They, you know, if you were lost, they would help you. If you had a question, they would help you. They would try to answer it the best they could. They were just truly amazing people. And there was a situation where I got pretty agitated, and I started packing up my stuff to leave, and one of the BHTs, his name was Jason, he came into my room, and he sat with me for hours and talked me out of it. And that was that was unreal. And it just showed me that, you know, people cared about me until I could care about myself, but they helped me to get to that place. I've only found it necessary to go to one treatment center. You know, I've only had to do it one time, and that has just been paramount in this whole thing. Is I didn't, you know, because of this place and because of just that little bit of willingness I didn't have to go back out there and live a terrible life. You know, and it's because of River Oaks. It's because of the people here who stuck by me.
My name is Erica, and my sobriety date is February 4th, 2016. I was scared that I was gonna die. I was terrified that I was gonna die. I was terrified that I wasn't gonna have any friends, that I was gonna have no social life, that I was never gonna be able to amount to anything, and I just didn't wanna feel anything anymore. So when I got here, I was just so scared that I was gonna lose everything that I thought I had worked for. But in reality, I gained everything that I could have ever wanted. I took the step My brother got sober 20 days before me. And I was so embarrassed that my baby brother could admit that he had a problem, and I couldn't even look him in the eye. I told him he didn't have a problem so that he didn't tell on us, so that I didn't have to stop doing what I wanted to do. That's the main reason why I came to River Oaks. Then I came because I got arrested, and I had nowhere else to turn. I knew it was over. I knew that I had to give up the fight, and that I had to just take it one day at a time to try to be a better person. It was the most difficult decision of my entire life, and I will never forget it until the day I die. Day one was rough. I feel like day one of anything is rough. I feel like treatment was terrifying. I didn't want to be here, but I knew I had to be here. I remember walking into the room and just having this instant sigh of relief. Like, I'm safe, it's gonna be okay. This is 30 days of my life. And that's all I gotta do is just stay sober, focus on what it is that I have to do on the day-to-day. And the staff immediately came in, surrounded me, let me know what was going on. The staff were amazing. The staff, sat me down, told me exactly what was happening, step by step. I just sat and explained basically my life, and I was so terrified of how my life could possibly manage without drinking or doing any sort of drugs. But when I got here, I was reassured that you can have fun without having to drink. You could have fun and have friends and do amazing things without having to have alcohol involved in every being of my life. They gave me the ability to feel confident, and they taught me an entire new way of living. I thought that I was gonna die an alcoholic. I thought I was gonna die an addict. I thought that I was never going to amount to anything. And River Oaks showed me that I was capable of doing so many things in my life. I was a peer leader when I was here, and I never thought I could ever take care of anybody else or help anybody else. I just thought I was a lost cause. The biggest misconception is that it doesn't work, is that it's just a big conspiracy, that, like Katie said, it's just, they just want your money, and they just kind of lock you in a room, put you on a bunch of meds, and leave you there for 30 days and expect you to get better. And it's nothing like that. It's a place that I always felt at peace. Like it was just a serene environment where I felt like I could just let it all go and breathe and relax, and I knew everything was gonna be okay. On the days that I wanted to go home, on the days that I wanted to quit, that I wanted to give up, that I wanted to run away, on the days that I wanted to cuss everybody out and tell them that I wasn't worth it and to just leave me alone. Thank you for making me stay. My counselor, Crystal, saved my life. She sat me down and told me everything that I needed to hear with no nonsense, and it literally saved my life. I owe my life to River Oaks.
Hi, my name is Ken, and my sobriety date is January 1st, 2018. For a lot of years, I put off coming to rehab because I really never admitted to myself that, yes, I was an alcoholic and that I needed help, because in the back of my mind, I still had that stinking thinking that I could do it myself when, you know what, you can't do it by yourself. You have to reach out for help. I arrived approximately 9 o'clock at night on New Year's Day. Flew in from Fort Lauderdale. Not sure actually what I was getting into. I just knew that it was my last chance to spend the rest of my life with my wife instead of in jail for the remainder of my life. In the last 4 months of the year, my job was, a little bit embarrassed, but I was supervisor of security for 2 hospitals that specialized in behavioral health. So my job was to make sure everybody was safe and dealing with people like us. Instead of learning from that, I picked up a bottle and started drinking even more to cope with what I was dealing with during the day. In those 4 months, I had 4 accidents. 2 of them, I totaled cars. And if it wasn't for God looking out for me, I would have certainly had 4 DUIs, because God knows I deserved them. I really didn't know what to think. I mean, I'm 59 years old. I was scared to death, and I'm not afraid of too many things. But from the time they picked me up to the time I started my intake process, the staff was incredible. They reassured me that, hey, it's okay. It was even okay that I was drunk, because that's why I was here, because I am an alcoholic. The thing that really made a difference for me, and I realized that this could work, it was like day 5 of detox. And I was still shaking and still had all the withdrawal symptoms, but I was comfortable with myself. And I remember waking up that morning and I just felt weird. I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience. I felt like, God, who is this guy? I was so freaked out that I actually went to the bathroom and looked in the mirror, and lo and behold, it was still the same Ken, but I felt different. And I wasn't quite sure what to make of it. But later on that day, I spoke with my wife, and she said, "Who is this?" I said, "This is Ken, this is your husband." Mind you, I've been married 27 years, so for her to ask me who this was kind of freaky as well. And she said, "Oh my God, you sound like the man I married 27 years ago." So she was crying, I was crying, and it was like, wow, this is for real, this is the real deal. At that point, I jumped feet first into this program. I had the sense that somebody really cared and that they were going to help me get through this phase, this cloud that I've been going through for the last 15 years. They loved me until I could love myself, and now it's a beautiful thing. I've heard numerous people talk about rehab centers, and they did this, they did that, and the food was crappy, the housing was terrible, place was dirty, nothing to do. People were mean. Some people said they'd lock you in a room, fill you full of medicines, and 30 days later spit you back out into the real world. And you know what? That is so wrong. I mean, coming to River Oaks was like coming to family. That's the feeling that you get. You know what? It's the best thing I could ever done. It saved my marriage, it saved my life, and I can't thank them enough.